Now you can hear me. Okay. Welcome to the morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Gainesville. I am Sue Boone, Worship Associate for this morning. I want to welcome all of you on Zoom, those at our sibling church in Valdosta, and those who are watching from afar or from your home here in Gainesville in your pajamas. Thank you for choosing to worship with us today. And to those of you here in the sanctuary, I'm glad we are together in community. I am a cisgendered, tall woman of European descent. I'm 79 years old. My short hair is turning white around my face. My pronouns are she and her. And this morning I am wearing an aqua shirt with blue flowers and blue pants. We are privileged to be on this lovely property, which was once the home of the Timucua and Seminole tribes. Have you figured out what our theme is for the day? Pardon? Today, May the 4th, is the informal commemorative day to celebrate the movie franchise Star Wars. May the Force be with you. Since the first movie came to movie theaters in 1977, and I'll have to confess, that's the only movie I've seen in that series. But that's okay. Since then, May the Force, or Fourth, be with you has been embraced by many segments of society worldwide. On NPR this morning, there was an article about Star Wars paraphernalia museums. The biggest one is in California. The person that was being interviewed was, I don't know where, because I was eating breakfast, I just kind of heard it. But there are several in the United States. And even the title of the New York Times Strands puzzle, has anybody done that this morning? Was Star Wars. Yay! It was called Star Wars: A New Hope. So I think that's what our service is kind of about today. We will continue this grassroots celebration right here today. So hang on for an exciting trip into the universe. Okay. Helping me this morning is Patricia Roth. Let us now be in an attitude of reverence as we begin the service. I forgot. Socializing before the service, and I forgot this. Okay.
Let us light our chalice with intent to choose radiance over despair. We embrace the truth and let go of fear. We create a path forward, a way out of the darkness. As the wise Yoda said, to be Jedi is to face the truth and choose. To give off light or darkness, Padawan. Be a candle or the night.
Probably last year, I was going through the Unitarian Universalist Worship Web, which is a resource of all kinds of readings to use at worship services. And I came across this reading called May the 4th. So I signed up to be worship associate on May the 4th, and so here we are. This May the 4th invocation was written by Tori Jameson with help from Earl Rogers, Kevin Mann, and Sin Burnell. May the force be with you.
And you will help me say, and also with you, and also with you.
Get your saber.
Yep.
Lift up your lightsabers.
We lift them up to the rebellion.
We cast away the spirit of Jar Jar, bringer of mindlessness, chatter, and unnecessary anecdotes. We call forth the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, patient teacher and speaker of riddles.
And you will say, come, spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, come.
Spirit of Obi-Wan. We call forth the spirit of Yoda, ancient teacher of wisdom.
And you reply, come, spirit of Yoda, come.
You get it. We call forth the spirit of Padme, strong and fierce leader of nations and mother.
And you reply, come, spirit of Padme, come. There we go.
We call forth the spirit of Han Solo, determined friend and defier of odds.
Are we getting the hang? Come, spirit of Han Solo, come.
We call forth the spirit of R2-U2. No. R2, that's Unitarian Universalist, this U2. Okay. We call forth the spirit of R2-D2, humble in service and great of heart.
Come, spirit of R2-D2, come.
Okay, together.
Together.
No, just
Oh,
us.
just, okay.
We even practiced. Okay. The
force is truly with us in a sign of community and mutuality. Let us share a sign of the force with one another. Yay!
Okay. Let us now join together in singing hymn number 1002 in your teal hymnals. Comfort Me is the title. Hymn 1002. Stand as you are willing and able. Okay. I'm going to go get the book.
Good morning. My name is James Chase, and I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Gainesville. I am a white, transgender, non-binary person. I use they, them pronouns. I'm white, I have short hair, I cut it myself. You can tell me how good it looks. I am usually wearing glasses, and today I'm wearing a blue shirt and blue jeans. And today I get to not just do the story, which I'm excited to share with you, but also the sermon, so good luck. This story is an idea. It is not published. I did illustrate it, so good luck. And it is about, I've called it Jet Pig Galaxy by James Chase, and I did illustrate it in the 20 minutes before service, so. Jet Pig Galaxy by James Chase. Once upon a time, there was a person, and that person contained a galaxy. Well, no, actually, I got my metaphors mixed up. We're clarifying as we go. They contained a solar system. And in that solar system, they have planets. They have a planet for each of their values. And in that person, probably a lot more planets than what's pictured here. No, go back, go back. We're looking at the planets, thank you. Each of these planets, there's one with a J on it, and that is for justice. And then there's one for equity and transformation, plurality, interconnectedness, and generosity. And then because there were more planets in this picture that I did pull from Google, there's a couple of question marks, because each person is not just going to have those ones, but we all have other values that are personal to us. Now, at the center, there is love. And because of that love, on each of those planets, there is growth. Wherever the light touches from that sun, there is beautiful growth happening all the time, and these values are changing and transforming and becoming, and they build up who this person is. Wherever the sun touches on the justice planet, there is a willingness to make things right, to bring fairness because of love, because we love each other. We want things to be good and fair. And when there's equity, there's a desire and a drive to give people what they need and to see that in the world. And on generosity, it is an inherent drive to give because this person has love at the center. But now we're going to go to our next picture, which is another person who still has those solar system planets. They are still there, but for whatever reason, their love at the center is drained. Maybe they haven't spent enough time with friends. Maybe they're really tired. Maybe the world is just hard. And on that person's planets, even though they might be the exact same planets, justice has changed from a willingness to see everyone in situations where they thrive. It's changed into a desire to punish those who are wrong, who are evil, who have done bad things. And it's still justice. It's still the idea, the value of justice is still there, but it's lacking the love. And the light is not shining on that person, on that planet, and it's stagnated, it's stalled, and it's withering. Maybe for that person, I took notes, but I didn't actually write down words. Maybe their equity got cranky and said everyone should get exactly the same, even if it doesn't make sense. Transformation, their transformation planet curled up under a blanket and whispered, change is scary. I don't even want to try. Plurality might frown and say, why are you so weird? Can't you just be normal? Can't you just be like me? Interconnection started to feel heavy, like everybody needs something from me, and I don't want to give it anymore. I just want to pull away and be on my own because it's just too much. And generosity, maybe it tries. Maybe generosity is so deep inside people and they just keep giving and giving and giving and giving until they have nothing left to give because they didn't know to have the boundaries that comes from loving yourself. But luckily, this person in our story, here comes their friend. And their friend has their full cup of love. And thankfully, just by standing close and being close together, the light from their love star reaches out through the galaxy to the next solar system over. And it starts those planets spinning again. And that love at the center is like the light from our chalice. It just ignites it. And then, here we have our happy ending. There they go. Now they both are full, and their planets start spinning. It might take some time. It might take some time spent together and loving and caring, but there it is. And they're happy together. The end.
The first reading today was adapted from a prayer written by the Reverend Jeremy Smith at hackingchristianity.net. That's Hacking Christianity is his website. Okay. I hacked it a little also to fit into our Unitarian Universalist service today. We come tired. We come hopeful. We come looking for a spark in the dark. We gather, the dreamers, the warriors, the ones still holding on. May the universe surround us and bind us and make us one. One with each other, one with every broken piece of our beautiful world and galaxy's unending. Shine through us. Send us out and help us never lose sight of our light. Each week we have the opportunity to share publicly our joys and sorrows. To do this, you can write what is on your heart in the book at the doors as you come into the sanctuary. Our usual first joy is visitors, but evidently we don't have any today. So, Susan Cohn wrote, "Please hold our family in your hearts. My sister Heidi's sweet and loving son, Matthew, died suddenly as a result of suicide by gun. He found this world too hard to live in. Let's all remember to always be kind to each other. We can never know what another person's struggles are." Jim Benedict sent us a message. He's up in Michigan. He sends word that his tumor removal surgery went very well, which is good. I don't know when he's coming back. He won't be back until fall. Yeah. Mary Gove and George Louder? Yes. Please hold our dear friend Bert Kemper in your hearts. He has had a long stay in the hospital, plus his son recently died tragically. Okay, I need some more help. Peter Marin and Dan? Aaron, oh yeah, Aaron. Brondell, okay. Would like to thank our UUFG friends for the sympathy and support following their brother-in-law's untimely death. We all carry joys and sorrows, and some we cannot speak out loud, but hold in our hearts. For those unspoken joys and sorrows, I would like to invite you to come forward and drop a stone in our communal water bowl. After all have dropped their stones, a member of the caring committee will drop 2 stones for the joy and sorrows of all who are gathered with us virtually. Please come forward.
In the spirit of generosity, can we please give a round of applause for the beautiful music from Star Wars that we're hearing today? I'm enjoying it profoundly. So, from the same Hacking Christianity, Sue found this, which we have to share with you. For Luke so loved the Force that he gave his only begotten hand. May we also sacrifice in our own way to emulate this devotion. So now is the time in the service where we ask you to contribute to the electric bill and other expenses. Is it tasteless to just ask for money and pinky promise that if you give some, the Force will be with you? And we would also like to say that this worship team is donating lightsabers to the kids, James's kids, so that he can use it the way he would like. And will the ushers please come forward? Go ahead, dig in your pockets, dig in those purses. Let's go.
I want to thank the ushers for joining into the spirit of the day. Our second reading this morning was adapted from a writing by Sarah Gibb Millspaugh. Religion at its best asks us to rise above the selfishness and status seeking, the othering and the xenophobia that comes so easily to us. Religion at its best, and our Unitarian Universalist faith, calls us to honor that which is sacred in each person, even those we might hate, even those who we find disgusting. It impels us to accept our faith that there is a sacred spark, a worthy spark in every person. This can sound mundane, but it's very radical. Revolutionary even. Each person sacred? Each person worthy? Accepting this on faith changes how we live. In this time when so many of us live in fear of a political regime, let us renew our pledge to live out those sacred and humane teachings that draw us toward compassion, love, justice, in ever-widening circles of care.
Back. There we go. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. May the 4th be with you. I am always so grateful when I get a chance to talk to the congregation in this way. One of the less visible parts of my job that is in my job description is to seek credentialing as an RE professional. And what that program is, it's a program put together by the UUA Association, and it is about 2 years of classes, learning opportunities, mentorship, networking, growth throughout all kinds of different fields. And that has been one of the most important parts of my job because it is aimed to teach me on a deep enough level that I then have to prove through a rigorous process that I do understand them. And I'm coming up on the end of that program, which is exciting. And by the end of it, I mean that there's about a year left, but I've entered into the first stage of a couple. And this program has grown me as an individual in such ways that what this opportunity means to me is it's a chance to share with you what I've learned. Share with you a part of myself that is authentic and real and very deep and can be a little bit dicey, you know? So I'm dealing with some anxiety, and I am grateful for the grace that I'm sure that I will be shown. If you're gonna, I think I've got about 20 minutes of, this is perfect. We've done good on time, you guys, well done. So if you stick with me for about 20 minutes, I'd like to invite you on a journey through galaxies far, far away and back to the beginning of humanity as told through the Bible, and into the very soil of our community garden here in this space. Not a literal garden. We'll get into the figurative stuff later. We're going to talk today about love, not the Hallmark kind, not the romantic kind, but the kind of love that feeds a solar system, that fuels a galaxy, that changes everything. I'm going to be very upfront. I have never watched most of the Star Wars movies. I have seen the first one of them, of the first series, and then I've seen bits and pieces of the others. So I'm going to be talking about Star Wars, and it's probably going to be wrong, and I just wanted to get that out of the way. I appreciate that. No, it was before my time. So, 92. So I'm aging myself here, but okay. But I have picked some things up, and I did Google some stuff when I was writing this. So here we go. Buckle up. In Star Wars, you're taught early, you're shown through everything very early on that there is a light side and there is a dark side. There is good, there is evil, there is not the Federation, hold on, the Galactic Republic and the Galactic Empire. And then as you spend more time in the fandom, probably, you recognize that it starts to get complicated. My first actual encounter with Star Wars, and I'm going to say Star Trek sometimes too because I do love Star Trek, so, was actually through playing the video game called Knights of the Old Republic. And I loved it. It was so good. It was my first encounter with Star Wars. And it was frustrating, and I never finished it. Because in the game, your actions and your choices determine your allegiance. You get either you're aligning towards the light side or the dark side. And as I was playing this game, I would do things that to me seemed like the right thing to do. I, as a child, and even still, really wanted to be good. It was kind of it was a whole thing. It was my whole identity, actually. I wanted to be good. And so this game was frustrating because sometimes I would take actions that I clearly believed were good, and then they would assign me dark side points. And this just wasn't fair. This was a betrayal. This wasn't what I wanted. The system was broken. I wrote it off as bad writing, that the quality of the entire universe was, because that's who I was at the time. But here's the thing, sometimes, nope, I read that part already. I'm ad-libbing entirely, this is prompts. Turns out the game was actually onto something, and it was digging at something deeper. The Republic, which I believed was the good guy, that was the good side, that was the side that represented order and logic. They tried to be fair and democratic, but they were creating laws that really only took into account some. They created rules that did not, in fact, include everybody. And the Jedi, in their devotion to the light, they would often become rigid, detached, even cruel in their denial of emotion. But wait, aren't they the good guys? If they're the heroes, surely they must be good. And the Force, after all, was with them. But then you get to know, through the many works, the Sith. You meet Darth Vader and you discover that he is a little boy, hurt by a lifetime of abuse and the cruel loss of his mother. Beneath the violence and the rage and the anger are wounded people, turned inward by grief, fear, and lonely, and cut off from love. Their planets shriveled, and they turn to cruelty. But wait, the Force is also with them. The Force doesn't judge. Through it all, the Force flows. It isn't moral, it isn't loyal, it doesn't judge, it just is. It is present in all things. It can be used for harm or for healing, control or connection. The Force doesn't choose, though. It doesn't judge who is worthy and unworthy. It simply is. It is inherent in everyone. Some kind of maybe inherent worthiness? Have we heard these words? I don't know. We'll move on. So what makes the Sith bad and the Jedi good? I'm going to go back now. I warned you guys, gave you a content warning about the Bible mention. That was my first spiritual language. My first spiritual lens was the Bible. I was raised Christian, extremist, conservative Christian. And though I've had to do some serious deconstruction and I had to spend some time away for my own ability to become myself, I have gone back to deeply seeing wisdom and strength in some of the stories. So take Genesis 3. It's not quite the beginning like I promised, but it's pretty close. In the Garden of Eden, before the fall, Adam and Eve are naked and unashamed. They walk with God. No guilt, no judgment, no earning worthiness, no deserving or undeserving. They just are. And then comes the dang snake in that dang tree. I went back and reread it, and for the first time it clicked that it was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Against God's advice, the newly made humans do eat from it, and suddenly there's a binary. You did right or wrong, you did good or bad, you are deserving or undeserving. They were suddenly aware of their nakedness, and they rushed off to cover themselves. They hid themselves from God, and when he asked them what had happened, they passed the blame along the line. God asked Adam, what happened here? And he said, well, the woman you made me, she made me eat the apple. It wasn't my fault, she made me do it. And then he asked Eve, and Eve said, the snake, that snake made me do it, it wasn't my fault. They pass the blame and fall away from themselves because they were afraid. They were afraid that if they had done it, something bad would happen. The original sin, I think, wasn't disobedience. It was allowing that shame to sink in. It was to believe that if we just do the right thing, we could maybe avoid the pain, the bad thing. It's the idea that pain is evil, and somehow it implies unworthiness. The idea that worthiness could ever be earned or unearned. That it could be taken away from us by anybody. Maybe God didn't kick them out of Eden to punish them, to see them suffer, but because that shame that now they held was incompatible with the state of plenty and peace that was inherent in this garden. That idea of earned worth is still with us. It exists in this room. It exists in every single one of us. It is hard to escape because it is part of the fabric of our larger culture. Our culture enforces it in every corner. But our UU faith tradition stands up and it says something else. And our Christian, Unitarian, and Universalist ancestors have been shouting it from the rooftops since the Council of Nicaea. Our ancestors have been labeled heretics for saying things like, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We believe that no one is going to hell. We believe that every person is already worthy, that you do not have to be saved. You just are already worthy. There is no dignity that you have to prove. It is inherent. I've come to understand it with the imagery because I'm a very story, allegory thinking person of a plant deserving water. A plant doesn't have to earn water. If we want a plant to thrive, it is our job to give it love. If we want that plant to grow, we must give it water. You don't ask your tomato plant to prove that it deserves a minute with the hose. If you want that growth and those fruits, it is on you to give it. Or you don't give it, and it shrivels up and dies, which often happens with me and my black thumb. But that's what love is like. We as humans have evolved to need it like we need food, like we need water. We have done horrible studies and found out tragic things about babies, that if they are given all the food and water that they need, but they are not given love, they will die. We need it. We know that we need it. It's not a weakness. It's biology. It's evolution. It's humanity. That said, not every plant is entitled a place in every garden. I know when I am gardening, I pull out weeds. I sure do. And that is what it is. We as humans have learned, and this is stretching the allegory, so follow with me, to use communities and systems, or gardens, as I will continue to call them, to offer shelter, to offer all of the benefits that communities serve, to create our galaxies of people, of love, of what we want, and what we want to see happen in the world. We build these systems in spaces like this from a place of love, but often in our world, these systems are built from capitalist greed, productivity, worthiness, tying your worth and your dignity, your human nature, to how productive you can be. How well do you serve? And that's not coming from love. That is not a solar system being fed by love. That is a solar system being fed by something that can look like love, and it can feel like love sometimes, but it's conditional. And that's not what we're aiming for. But we do create rules and boundaries to help protect, define, and give our garden a purpose, which is something else that we have found that humans need. In our community garden here, we have agreements, we have boundaries, we have rules, and we have JetPig. We talk about it a lot because we're reaffirming and creating a boundary for this space. We talk about love and anti-oppression and anti-racism and inclusion because those are the things that we choose as a community and have historically chosen. Does that make our garden better than others? I don't know. Some gardens in the real world grow food, and some grow flowers. Some, which I have been shown by my children on YouTube, grow some of the most dangerous plants in the world that will kill you if you stand under a tree. And if you want to know more, you can ask my children after the service. They're at Messy Playdate. Some thrive with a lot of water. Some really need neglect. Some plants actually just thrive better without water. Ask me how I know. Is one garden more important than another? Is one person more important than another? Is one purpose more important than another? I don't think so, but I don't know. I will say that this garden that we have built here is one in which I thrive. I love it. I love to see it grow. I love to see it change. And most individuals don't just have one garden. We're here sometimes, and it feeds us. But we have to serve different roles in our garden. Some places we might be a caretaker, and some places we have to get our needs met. And so we're usually in a lot of different systems or different gardens. We have our families, our volunteer gardens where we get our volunteer needs met, which could be here, ask me how, after service. We go to school where we learn and we serve a role as a student. We have workplaces where we get our physical and financial needs met. I'd like to tell you a little bit about another garden where I have grown to thrive, where I didn't ever expect to be able to thrive. As I hope you have gathered by this point, I am transgender and generally all around a little bit fruity. This is not a slur I'm claiming that word, so I apologize if that bothers you. I'm going to use it one more time, though. I do live in Lake City, Florida, which is, if you don't know, a deeply conservative area. It is deeply, deeply, angrily conservative. It's a place that has been locked down in shame for a very long time, and a lot of very angry, withering people have lived there for a very long time. There's a place where there's no expectation of love needs being met. There's no expectation of financial or food or housing needs being met. It's very high in poverty, and it's just a place where there is a lot of hurt. I am also a tattoo artist, if you don't know, and when I began apprenticing at my tattoo shop, I wasn't what folks called passing. I was visibly queer, openly trans, and I was not welcomed with open arms. There were microaggressions, there were macroaggressions. People made jokes, laughed about pronoun use, mocked me, looked through me, and did not see my humanity. They talked around me, and it hurt. It was not safe in that space to be myself. It was harmful. And for a while, it was something that caused me a lot of pain, because I was not getting my love needs met, and it was being made clear that I was not welcome in that garden. I was wilting, I was fading away, and I was ready to leave. I was not the kind of plant that they wanted. But thanks in a large part to the reaffirming love that I was being soaked in this space, that this community was feeding my water needs, that I was getting the love that I needed, something changed in me. I realized that while people could say what they wanted, I was the one who decided whether or not to let that harm me. If their words were wounding me, it was because I gave them access to my sense of self-worth, which meant that I didn't believe it deep enough. So I stopped doing that. It sounds easy when I say it, but it was not. And over time, I found something even deeper that feels like magic. No one owes me kindness, not even attempting to use my pronouns. That doesn't mean it's not important. It absolutely is important, but it is not owed. It is a gift, a sign of love, an acceptance that transcends the need to understand. It's also a signal, a gesture of shared values. It is compliance to the rules of this garden that we have built. Demanding that a garden adapt to me, that the garden change itself, expecting that it would change itself to adapt to me is a little bit self-centered and maybe a little bit silly. Optimistic? I don't know. I don't mean that in a dismissive way, just in that a recognition that systems need time to change. And that is a true thing that we know about systems. But even when I didn't receive that gift, and when I don't receive that gift to this day, even when someone misgenders me or treats me with contempt, my worth is untouched. Nobody can touch my worth. I cannot touch my worth. It is there, it is inherent. It is my worthiness of water. It is on me to get those needs met. This treads close to something called victim blaming, and I hope that it comes through that that is not what I mean. Just everyone is worthy. When I rooted myself in that unconditional love for myself first, boundaries, it allowed and even made inevitable a love for others. I think when you are planted there firmly enough, it makes it impossible to not see the worth and dignity in people around you. When I went there, I became a different kind of tattoo artist, not someone who just inks skin and sits quietly and feels rage at what people would say and that people aren't doing justice by me, but someone who listens, who shares stories, who celebrates and finds the shared common threads of humanity between me and whoever is in that chair, no matter what their values are, who sees beyond the divides and sees their planets and says, wow, these are really good planets. They need a little bit of light. Let's talk about it. It's become something of a personal chaplaincy or a ministry to me to work in a space that was not the kind of garden that accepted me at first. And I sit with people who might not recognize my worth, and I help them to find their own, and it works. Everybody, it works. I have tattooed people who, after 3 hours of painful vulnerability, tell me in quiet, honest voices that they used to feel very, very differently about transgender people. That they had had their minds changed, and now they feel differently because they see me. They see that I love them, that there's nothing that they can do to make that worthiness and that love go away for me. And through my eyes, they begin to see themselves, and they begin to love themselves unconditionally too. We are in those moments mirrors of each other's unconditional love and worth, a moment of a chalice flame lighting and passing from one person to another. Rob Bell, I didn't write down the quote, so I don't remember it exactly, but he said something to the effect that people believe in God the greatest love that they have ever known. And that stuck with me because I, as a child, believed in a punishing, hateful, vengeful God. And that was the greatest love I had known. But once you know something bigger, you can't believe anymore. It happens slowly, but you can't believe in a limited God. And it changes. In the past few years, the Garden of Lake City has started to change. There is now a pride group. It is small, but it is persistent and vibrant and full of love. There are openly inclusive spaces, even a lovely little pagan shop. And people don't even come out and protest anymore. Death threats are very minimal. You know, it's good, it's progress. There are changes happening. This is good. I would never take responsibility for that, but I see the growth, and I see it happening where there is love. Love has an unlimited transformative power. I found in this community real friends, real, authentic loved ones, a safe community where I can be myself, in a city with entirely different values. I have learned about their planets, and I have seen their love stars start to glow. I have found that I can exist happily in a garden I once thought would rip me up by the roots and cast me out. Sometimes in those spaces I glimpse unconditional love more clearly than I do in some liberal spaces. Like the Jedi and the Sith, there is so much room for gray. Maybe what matters isn't which side you're on or what garden you're in, but how much love you have and how much love that community shares. In early childhood development, there is something called the zone of proximal development, which is a fancy, long phrase for a very simple idea. If you take a baby out of a baby room and put them in the toddler room, they will learn to walk within a few weeks. This happens over and over again. If you leave them in the baby room, that same age, that same development, they will stay crawling for a very long time. Babies don't learn to walk by watching grown-ups, not usually. They learn fastest and most joyfully by watching somebody who has just learned what they are now learning, somebody close to them in development. We don't always need things explained to us by experts. We learn best from people like us, from peers. Peers who have been where we were and seen what we see and see our humanity still and have a little bit of something to share with us. If those toddlers that, they're in their toddler room and a baby is introduced, if those toddlers turn around and mock that baby, shame them, tell them to just figure it out, what's wrong with them, that's not actually going to help. If they welcome the baby, embrace them for who they are, let them watch, let them try without the fear of failure or of being shamed or punished, that baby will walk, if they can. I'm not trying to be ableist. That's transformation. That's how love spreads. It's not top-down. It's not through teaching. It is through love. And now I'm going to share something a little bit vulnerable with you guys that I have felt for a long time afraid to share, because I don't want it to come across as criticism. I want it to come across with love and authenticity. I was raised in a home of deeply, deeply conditional love, where there was a threat to take away that love at any given moment for the wrong actions. I think this had a little bit to do with why it was so important to me to be good that I couldn't tolerate a game that assigned me bad points. It felt painful. For the first half of my life, I fully drank the Kool-Aid. I believed in that punishing God. I believed that it was my job to tell other people what they were doing was wrong. In my church group, I protested abortion clinics. I spread hate. I was as conservative as it gets. And I was incredibly, incredibly lucky When I was asked to leave my childhood home as a teenager, I had friends in my zone of proximal development who were further ahead than me, quite a lot further actually, but they still saw my humanity and they welcomed me in with open arms and they gave me a place to stay. They said, wow, you really do hate gay people and people who get abortions. And there is just a lot of hate there, and they held boundaries. Alder Munok, who some of you know, who eventually became my father-in-law, he offered me a place to stay. I was 15 years old at the time, and he gave me a home. As I was, he put into place boundaries, let me know what was acceptable to say and what was not. And this whole family just soaked me in care and love and told me about my worthiness, even though it hurt to hear. They didn't shame me, they held my hand, and slowly they showed me what unconditional love can look like, and it was so bright that it hurt to look at. It took me 10 years of soaking in that love before I could actually accept myself, before I believed that I was worthy, and that it was slow and it was painful, but that is the power of unconditional love. When I came to this congregation for the first time, my heart sang at seeing it, but when I attended a congregational meeting, the idea was put forward asking if we wanted to be welcoming towards conservatives, if we wanted to open the doors and be welcoming to Republican people. And the answer was overwhelmingly no. In this meeting, the answer was, well, they don't want to be here. We don't really want them here. This is not a space for them. And in that moment, I had to hide a part of myself because I hadn't come to understand love quite yet at that time. But I realized that a part of me, a part of who I had been, that Christian, that part that I grew up as, was not welcome here. And I would have to cover it up a little bit, maybe pretend to be a different plant to be allowed to stay in this space that I knew was where I wanted to be, where I would thrive. If the people who I now call family had done what I see so often in both liberal and conservative, light side and dark side spaces, if they had cut me off, called me toxic, told me that I was unworthy, that I was problematic, I don't know where I would be today, but I can guarantee it would not be here. Justice, equity, transformation, plurality, interconnection, generosity, these are lovely words, but without love, they're neutral. Without love, they are this. They are a tool, they're an action, they're rules, they're a boundary. But those are neutral. You can use them for anything. Without love, justice becomes punishment. Equity becomes a flattening. Forced sameness. Transformation becomes coercion, manipulation. Plurality becomes a rejection of faith, of any faiths. Interconnection becomes pressure. Generosity becomes burnout. But with love, they blossom. They become a garden where growth and transformation is possible. Love is the light that makes growth possible. It makes our values mean something, and it makes us who we are. Love is the flame in our chalice, infinite, infinitely shareable, unlimited. And we are all worthy of it. And here is the very exciting thing that is kind of also a pain. Unconditional love does have to start with you. If you make a mistake and somebody calls you out or calls you in, do you feel defensive and ashamed? Do you feel like you have to pass the blame on to something else, someone else? If so, maybe there is that bit of shame, that original sin sitting on you, and it's stopping that light of love from getting to you. Does it feel threatening? Like you've fallen off, that you're going to be ripped out of the garden if you do the wrong thing? That means there's a problem. There might be a problem with the garden. There might be a problem somewhere else. I don't know, but check in, because you are worthy. As a plant is worthy of rain, even if you mess up, especially when you mess up, because mistakes mean you're growing. Love does not wait for perfection. It grows through pain, through awkwardness, through trying again and again and again. As a community, we will grow. We will change. We will make mistakes. We will backslide. It's part of being a garden. Cycles of winter, spring, drought, flood. I see people checking their watches. I'm sorry. I'm going to wrap it up. Love is good. You're worthy. Stand up and walk. Thank you very much for the space up here. I appreciate it.
Do you? think the hymn's first. Let us join together and sing hymn number 1012, When I Am Frightened. I am frightened when
sermon will work as closing words, so you get to hear it all after all. Come, be in this space where we want to offer water and love freely. Sit together and soak in it. Water your roots. Let yourself need love like a plant needs rain. And when you're ready, stand up and walk. And when someone new walks in talking about conditions, about deserving, just smile to yourself and keep walking. Keep loving, keep growing. If they stick around long enough, they'll figure it out. Offer them shade, offer them sun, and just let them stew in it. And then offer your love freely, without condition, but with boundaries. Let go of ideas of good and evil and just be, because the force is real. Worthiness, values, growth are real, and they are all love, and they are all with you, always. Thank you.
Let us join together in, will you extinguish the chalice? Will you extinguish the, okay. As Patrice extinguishes the chalice, let us repeat our chalice lighting words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, nor of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May the force be with you for the rest of the day. Join us for coffee and conversation. Thank y'all.